What is good on this Monday, May 11th, episode 52 of the Jeff Tate Sports Podcast. And today's full premise of the podcast, real quick, is going to be about what all the leagues are looking like in terms of starting back up. Got a lot to do with that. That's all it's going to be about. I think we have some optimistic developments that happened over the weekend, even into today on Monday. And a lot of this stuff would be real interested to break down. Hopefully you guys have kind of stayed up to date with it because hopefully you guys want sports back. Really quick, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Doesn't matter where you guys want to listen. If there is a place where you guys listen to podcasts and I'm not on there, let me know. Just reach out. I'll do everything I can to get onto that. I was looking at getting some YouTube. Like I would, a lot of podcasters put their podcasts on YouTube with like a video version. YouTube's a little picky in terms of they only let me have one podcast a week, and there has to be a certain time limit, and it's only 10 minutes. And most of my podcasts go over 10 minutes, so I don't want to cut you guys short of a shortened podcast version that I'd be published into YouTube. So that's not really in the cards. But if you guys have other services, SoundCloud, I've been kind of working with them. They're a little picky as well, but Apple, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes Radio, or iHeartRadio, just a lot of different radio podcasting services I'm on. So today I want to talk about a few developments that happened over the weekend, especially this morning for one. I know I don't talk much about soccer, but in Europe, soccer is a sport. It is dominant, and I mean the big countries that produce very good soccer that a lot of people in America watch. England's the big one, Spain's a big one, Italy, Germany, France. Those are the big five kind of. And the UK government has said that the Premier League, which is the English Premier League, which is England's league, obviously, that they can resume playing after June 1st in fanless stadiums, which is really interesting because the Premier League and their players have kind of been going back and forth. Some guys don't think it's safe. But now that the UK government has said it, I would believe it will lead to a resolution. Soccer's a lot different because you got your like 22 players on the field. It's a huge field. And soccer, you're not always super close to each other. So I know soccer is one of the sports that people will believe will come back before a lot of the other ones do. Obviously, over this weekend, UFC. There was a UFC fight. I don't really follow the UFC much, but I know it went really successful. Fans enjoyed the actual live entertainment. Golf. Fort Worth is hosting the Charles Schwab Challenge, and that's the first, quote, tournament that the PGA Tour is going to host. It's going to have no fans, but the city of Fort Worth, where this tournament is, basically said we are committed to having this tournament in June, and we believe we have all the precautionary steps that we've had to do to get golf that day. So it's still yet to be seen what kind of players will be playing in these tour events. We don't know if the big guys like Koepka, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, DJ, a lot of those guys. We don't know if they're going to go and play in that. That will be seen as we probably get closer because you usually announce the field a week before the tournament. Now, baseball is the real interesting one to me. Real quick, soccer, the Bundesliga, which is the German league, they're starting the end of this week, which is crazy. You'll have to monitor that. I will be sure to talk about that on the podcast going forward. So the MLB and significant developments in the MLB have come over the weekend and even in today, which is why I'm glad I do this podcast later in the day because I wouldn't have had it if I did it earlier. The MLB season looks like we're going to have a proposal to the players tomorrow. And the MLB owners unanimously voted today and approved the July start plan. Some of the things in this plan that I want you guys to listen to: an expansion of the playoff from 10 to 14 teams, so 7 in each conference, an 82-game season, so just under half of a season, or just over half a season. The use of home stadiums in areas that have local and state government approval. I'm reading this directly from ESPN's Buster Olney. A so-called spring training 2.0, because they obviously already had some spring training, that begins in June with a season set for early July. The hope would be July 4th. Geographical schedules in which teams play only in-division opponents and interleague opponents in a similar area. The example they gave, the American League Central, which is the Twins, Tigers, White Sox, Royals, and Indians, all Midwest teams, would only play the National League Central teams, which is the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Pirates, and the Reds. So all those teams that are relatively close to the Midwest, which would be, I think, a really good idea, because then you would limit the travel in terms of these guys wouldn't have to go all the way to Texas to play the Rangers. Dang it. See, they're stupid that the Rangers and Astros are in the American League. Okay, you go all the way out to Los Angeles and you play the Dodgers. You'd avoid that long travel, and that would hopefully prevent the spread of the disease. A 30-man roster with a taxi squad that would be upwards of 50 players available. So you're not going to have the minor leagues. The minor leagues have already canceled their season. So what you're going to do is, instead of having like a feeder, like a minor league, you're going to have this full roster that you can pull guys from when you need them. If guys get hurt, if guys get suspended, stuff like that. And so tomorrow, they're going to propose this to the Major League Baseball's Players Association. And it's really interesting because one of the hard things with the coronavirus, with sports, and let alone just the economy and society, a lot of money has been lost. And so the Major League Baseball is the only association in the United States that, like for sports, that doesn't have a salary cap. And so what they're saying in this proposal that they're giving to the players, it's going to have to be a 50-50 revenue split. And that's hard because traditionally this number is up higher, like 75-25 players to owner split. And I know that's going to have a lot of pushback, but what I tell these players, and obviously they have a lot to think about in terms of their own safety, their family's safety, is this is unprecedented times. This year is something we hopefully never have to have again. And you probably are going to take a little loss in your pocket. The owners are already doing that. The American public needs sports. And for the American public to get baseball, if it even started on July 4th, the American pride in baseball, let alone the American pride in the United States, which is a huge thing we celebrate on the 4th of July, that'd be awesome to have baseball. I think it's real interesting that in this proposal, you're not seeing the bubble plan, where they would play in only Arizona and only in Florida. You would play in home stadiums with, they haven't yet to say what like the state of New York would do. Obviously, you got two teams that inhabit New York, the Mets and the Yankees, two good teams. What are you going to do since New York is definitely not a safe place to be right now? Where would they play home games? It's yet to be seen. I would assume they would be playing in their spring training stadium. That would only make sense to me, but I'm not sure exactly. And we'll know a lot more from this hopefully tomorrow, maybe Wednesday's podcast. Hopefully we'd have a decision. I just think we need to get something rolling. You can see in the sports world that things are starting to develop. The only league that I'm telling you I don't know what the heck is going to happen is the NBA. Adam Silver met with all the players and Michelle Roberts, the Players Association director, this past week, and from what I'm reading and hearing from other sports guys, it didn't sound very positive. Adam Silver obviously said there'll be no fans if we conclude a season. He also said that the 2021 season probably won't have fans. That's hard for people to wrap their head around. A lot of people think this disease will be gone in the fall. It's not going to happen. You need a vaccine for this thing to disappear, but I think it meant a lot that he said no fans even in 2021, which definitely hurts just these players because these players love performing in front of the fans. And the NBA, I mean, I have two opinions on it. I'll give you there are two opinions that are both very different sides of this issue. First, I mean, you got to finish the season. It's a lost season. You lose a year of LeBron James. You lose all this great talent that has, like, the Bucks looked so good this year, and you don't know what they're going to look like going forward because the Brooklyn Nets are going to get KD and Kyrie. It's just it's sad that we might not be able to finish the NBA season, but player safety, just people's safety that are within these teams is the number one thing, and I understand that. The other thing I say is, how about we end the season now so we don't drag this on until June, July, when hopefully we're going to be getting other sports back, like football. We're hoping people can start in the fall. Training camps, college football can start, and then we can get it rolling around with that season. Maybe not fans. Whatever happens. But part of me says, why doesn't the NBA just cancel now? Focus on starting in the end of October. Kind of, you have a longer time to think and brainstorm. You can do the draft. You can get free agency rolling. All those things can be accomplished by pushing the season and not starting it or not ending the season, respectively. I just think those are tough decisions, and it's a lot of money that's being lost. And you look at it, and I believe the NBA is going to find a way to get started. I just think that's the will of those players. They want to play. I think baseball is going to get started. I said soccer is getting started. MLS, which is the American soccer, has kind of had some proposals floated around. 2 players, not very concrete details, so I don't feel like you guys would like to listen to those because it's pretty confusing. It's hard to gauge like what they're trying to do. And you got the NFL and college football hoping they can start in the fall. The NFL, I'd say, is a better shot than college just because NFL owns a day of the week and they have a lot of money and say in things. All in all, these leagues, these players, these owners, they need to do what's best for like the environment. I don't think it's good that you play a game and you risk all these players. Like, yes, I want sports, but I understand that sports are going to be there after this virus. Like, that they're not going to disappear. And I guess my little ending segment here is you got to do what everyone thinks is best. Some people might not think, or you might have an overruling majority that doesn't want you to do something. You need to do what science and people and you believe is best for just America. And yes, I want sports, but we don't know what sports look like. I know it'll be different. I want sports. Just hang in there, people. We're going to get closer and closer to the start of sports. Golf is a big one in my opinion. I love golf. I really want to watch a golf tournament. I play golf all the time. I just want to watch golf. I learn a lot from it. What I'm going to say right here, and it's kind of fun because it's something I'm planning for this summer. I have a lot of things planned for the podcast this summer. I have a lot of guests that I want to get on the podcast. I have a lot of breakdowns of sports that haven't happened, but like I really want to do, and I want the people to say we have in college football because I'll do a whole top 25 breakdown in my opinion. I will give you my top 25. Just a lot of information on football, even the NFL. Fantasy football is a huge one that I'm going to have friends on. And we just want to get, some details. So stay in there, people, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, and I'll see you for episode 53 on Wednesday.